திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். புழியர்கோன் வெப்பொழித்த புகழியர்கோன் கடல் போற்றி, ஆழி மிசை கல்முதப்பில் அணைந்த பிரான் அடி போற்றி, வாழி திரு நாவலூர் வன்றொண்டர் பதம் போற்றி, ஊழிமலி திருவாத ஊரர் திருத்தாள் போற்றி. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். So today we are continuing our discussion of padhigam 7.39, tiruttoṇḍattogai. And as we have been seeing the songs from this padhigam, and we are also discussing the stories of the devotees who are mentioned in each song. So far we have covered one song in this padhigam. So today we are going to start with the second song, but before we do that, I want one of you to read the first verse so that we all become familiar with reading this verse. Go ahead, Rama.
Okay. tillai-vāḻ andaṇar tam adiyarkum adiyen, திருநீலகண்டத்து குவையனார்க்கு அடியேன், குயவனார்க்கு அடியேன், இல்லையே என்னாத இயற்பகைக்கும் அடியேன், இளையான் தன் குடிமாறன் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன், வெல்லுமா மிக வல்ல மேற்பொருளுக்கு அடியேன், விரிபொழில் சூழ் குன்றையார் விரல்மிண்டற்கு அடியேன், அல்லிமென் முல்லை அந்தார் அமர்நீதிக்கு அடியேன், ஆரூரன் ஆரூரில் அம்மானுக்கு ஆளே.
Good. So again, the reason why, all of you should at least practice reciting this, reading this verse so that you get the words and become familiar with the pronunciation and the names of the devotees. So that's why, in this session, in every session, we will make sure that we read the verse. And those of you who didn't get a chance to read today, go back and make sure that you are able to read it aloud later on. Okay, so now we are going to go to the second verse, and Madhuri, you can repeat with me. Ilai malinda வேல் நம்பி எரிபத்தர்க்கு அடியேன் ஏனாதிநாதன் தன் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன் கலைமலிந்த சீர் நம்பி கண்ணப்பர்க்கு அடியேன் கடவுரில் கலையந்தன் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன் மலைமலிந்த தோள் வள்ளல் மானக்கஞ்சாரன் எஞ்சாத வாட்டாயன் அடியார்க்கும் அடியேன் அலைமலிந்த புனல் மங்கை ஆனாயர்க்கு அடியேன் ஆரூரன் ஆரூரில் அம்மானுக்கு ஆளே. Good. So in this song we have got several devotees who are mentioned. eRipaththa is one devotee, eNAdhinAtha is another devotee, kaNNappa is another devotee, Kalayan is another devotee, Manakanjaran is another devotee, Vattayan is another devotee, Anayan is another devotee. So we have these devotees mentioned here. We will look at the basic meaning of the verse, and then we will look at the stories of these devotees. இலை மலிந்த வேல் நம்பி எரிபத்தர்க்கு அடியேன். இலை means leaf, veil means like the what you can call, like a javelin, right? The weapon that soldiers carry. So the ilai malinda veil means like the veil is the one that even Subramanian carries, right? That weapon that tip of that weapon is like a leaf, shaped like a leaf. That's why it says ilai melinda veil. Nambi is a word that comes for men who are of very high quality. People who are very noble, right? For such noble people, they use the word Nambi. So in Tamil, for a man of a noble character, the word Nambi is used. And similarly, for a woman of noble character, the word Nangai is used. So, Ilai Malinda Veil Nambi. So, the great man who carries a veil. eRipaththa. eRipaththa is the name of this devotee. And eRipaththarku Adiyen. I am a devotee of that eRipaththa. I am a servant of that eRipaththa. I am a slave of that eRipaththa. Adiyen means those are the different kinds of flavors of the meaning. Servant, slave, devotee, they are all called Adiyavar. So the next half line, EnAdhinAthan Adiyarkam Adiyen. EnAdhinAthan is the name of a person, a devotee, and I am a servant of his servants. Kalai Malinda Seer Nambi kaNNapparku Adiyen. Kalai means Shastram, the Kala. Right? The Sanskrit word Kala comes in Tamil as Kalai. And that means all the Shastras. Malinda means one is full of, one is well versed in. Kalai Malinda Seer Nambi. The great person who is well versed in the Shastras. kaNNapparku Adiyen. That kaNNappan, I am a servant of that kaNNappan. Kadavuril Kalayanthan Adiyarkam Adiyen. Kadavur is a name of a place. It's on the coast. Tirukadavur is today it's called the Tirukadayur. And those of you who have been to any pilgrimages in Tamil speaking region, you would have probably heard of this. This is one of the Attaviratattalam, one of the 8 places. Remember, we talked about the Ashtaviratatthalams in the last discussion. So we talked about Kovalur. Tirukovalur was one of them, where the Andakasura was killed. Similarly, in Tirukadayur, Yama was kicked. That is the story of that town, that temple. So that place is Kadavur. So Kadavuril Kalayan. Kalayan is the name of a devotee. So Kadavuril Kalayan. The Kalayan who hails from Kadavur, Tan Adiyarkam Adiyen. I am a servant of his devotees. Malai Malinda thevaram Manakanjaran. Manakanjaran is name of a devotee and is describing him as Malai Malinda thevaram. Malai is a rock or a hill. Malinda means like. Thol is Bhujam. So Manakanjaran who has strong arms like a rock. And he is also a Vallal. A Vallal means somebody who is very generous. So the Manakanjaran who is very strong and who is also very generous, and Enjada Vattayan. Vattayan is the name of a devotee, and Enjada Vattayan means somebody who never, was so perfect in his worship, he never left anything undone. That kind of implication. So Enjada Vattayan Adiyarkam Adiyen. So bottom line, in one sentence he is talking of 2 devotees. Manakanjaran who is strong and generous, and the Vattayan. I am the devotee of both of their devotees. Alai Malinda Punal Mangai Anayarku Adiyen. Alai is waves, Punal is water. So basically he is saying Mangai is the name of a place. There is a place called Tirumangalam. and that is what is referred here as Mangai. So the Tirumangalam, which has flowing water, right? River and streams and all that, right? That kind of a Tirumangalam with a lot of water, flowing water. The anAyanAr who hails from that place, I am his slave. Aruran Aruril Ammanukku Aale. I am Aruran, I am sundarar, with the given name of Aruran. I am the slave of the Lord of Tiruvarur. That is a direct meaning of the second verse. So we're going to go into discuss some of the stories in this song. But before that, are there any questions on what the literal meaning of these words are? Okay. If not, we'll look at each story. I hope we can cover. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I was on mute. Why does that end with adiyen, adiyen?
Okay. Adiyen means I am the. First, we know the meaning of that. Adimai means slave, and the devotee is called Adiyavar. Adiyavan, it means a devotee, a male, right? Adiyavan. Adiyavar is general, in plural, devotees. So, when you go back and catch up on this padhigam, in the beginning of the first session of this padhigam, 7.39, we talked about the background as to what happened. And in just Sundarar goes into the Tiruvarur temple, and there is a hall where there are a lot of devotees gathered. And Sundarar does not show respect to those devotees. He was lost in some thought or whatever, and he just ignored them, and he kept walking into the temple. And in that group of devotees, there was a devotee who hails from a place called Shanganur in what today's Kerala, and he got very upset. What is this guy thinking? He may be a big devotee, but doesn't mean that he can just ignore us like this and keep going. He doesn't even know the basic manners of a devotee. What kind of a devotee is he? So he gets very upset at the Sundarar and effectively says, we should excommunicate Sundarar from our group of devotees. So when Sundarar learns about this, then he asks, prays to Shiva, how do I, pacify them? How do I placate them? So Shiva says, go sing glory of devotees. And Sundara says, I don't know how to sing the glory of devotees. Shiva gives him the first line, tillai-vāḻ andaṇar madiyarku madiye. And then Sundarar comes back and then does namaskaram to all the devotees who are in that hall, and then sings this padhigam, tiruttoṇḍattogai. And in this padhigam, he lists names of various devotees and says he is a servant of each one of those devotees. So adiyen means I am a servant, I am a slave, I am a devotee. That's the meaning of adiyen. So he is coming back to the group of devotees and expressing his humbleness. That apologizing for his behavior and saying that I am a very humble servant of all of you. And in this list, he says name of some devotees who are in that group at that time, but he's also giving a list of various great devotees who lived before his time. So that's the gist of the background of this padhigam and the context of the word adiyen.
Okay.
Adiyen means I am a slave, I am a servant.
Okay.
So, ilai malinda vel nambi eRipaththarku adiyen. eRipaththa is a devotee who lived in a place called Karur. In this place is today called Karur, which is between, it's on the near the Kaveri river. It's about, if those of you who know the geography of Tamil Nadu region, Karur is about halfway between Tiruchirappalli and Erode. So this obviously in that Karur there was this great devotee eRipaththa, eRipaththa was a very strong devotee both in the terms of his devotion to Shiva and also in terms of his body strength. He was very valorous, very strong, and very ardent devotee of Shiva. And he is such a great devotee and he was such a strong man. He said that if any harm comes to any Shiva devotee, I will fight against that and save the devotee. I will fight for the justice. That kind of a strong will. So strong arm, strong will, and he will carry a maru. Maru in Tamil is in Sanskritam it's called a parasu, or in roughly we can call it as a battle axe in English. So he will carry that battle axe with him. So this is the background of eRipaththa. Now the story. Okay. The Karur was ruled by a Chola king, and his name is Pugar. Pugar means fame, and his name became Pugar because he's a famous Chola. That's the literal meaning of that name. We don't know what the real name was, but this is the name by which he is known. And obviously he was a king, Chola king, so he had a royal elephant, and the royal elephant had gone, the mahouts, right, the elephant keepers, they had taken the elephant to the local river for its daily bath and all that, and then they were coming back. And in this Karur, there was an old Brahmin devotee. His name is Sivagami Andar. And Sivagami Andar was an old man, and he would he go to the gardens and pluck flowers and make garlands and all that and carry it in a basket, and he will go to the temple every day in the morning and offer them to the Lord. In Karur there is a very big Shiva temple called in Tamil it is called Anilayappar Kovil. In common parlance it is called the Pasupathiswarar Kovil. And so he will take the garland in a big basket, and you know how they carry the baskets, right? They will have a stick that they will put it on their shoulder, and they will have the basket on one side and they will be holding it on the other side. That way they can carry it easily. So this old man was having all these garlands in a basket, and he was hanging it on a stick and then putting it on his shoulder, and he was walking to the temple. As that's what he does every day. He was a very ardent devotee. So one day, as he was walking towards the temple in the morning, this elephant had, the elephant keepers were two keepers were sitting on the elephant, and there were 2 or 3 guards who were walking along with that. They were returning from the river after the elephant had taken its bath. The elephant was very carefree, very joyous, and maybe it was in a playful mood or whatever, we don't know. It was coming casually, and then as it was walking along, it was walking fast as well. Elephants can walk fast. We don't realize it, but when they run or walk, they can run fast and they can walk fast. And as it was walking, it was coming from behind the Sivagami Andar, who was walking through the temple, carrying his flower basket. The elephant approached him from the behind, and with its trunk it grabbed all of that flower basket and threw it up and stomped on it, and then it went on its merry way. The elephant keepers, nor the guards, right? Nobody apologized, nobody said sorry sir, or nobody tried to control the elephant. They just went, they probably laughed at all this and saying that, hey, look at the fun that the elephant is having, and they all went away. So after this old man got up, he was very upset. I said, no, how can this happen? I am carrying these flowers for Shiva's temple and Shiva's worship, and this elephant destroys it, and then the elephant keepers and the guards, they don't bother, they all going on their merry way. So he tries to run after them, and but as an old man he cannot run, so he tripped and falls, and he's lamenting. He's looking at the heavens and crying, "Oh Shiva, what is this? How can this happen to your devotee? I mean, not a devotee who needs for your protection." That kind of the phrase that he uses is Shivada. When you are basically, "Oh Shiva," and he was lamenting and crying aloud like this. And at that time, eRipaththa happens to come by that way. And then he approaches this old man and says, "Sir, what happened?" And then the old man tells this narrates the event, what happened. And he says, where did this elephant and which way did the elephant go? He shows the direction in which they went. So eRipaththa runs in the direction, and then he catches up with the elephant and the keepers. And then he was so angry. The eRipaththa was so upset that this elephant has done such a thing, and that it should be punished. So with his battle axe, he climbs onto the elephant and fights with the elephant and chops off the trunk. And the elephant falls down bleeding, and the elephant the guards, the 3 guards and the 2 keepers on the elephant, they all go to fight with this guy, with eRipaththa, and eRipaththa kills them too. So the elephant is lying there in a pool of blood and dying, and the guards are all dead. The 2 keepers and the 3 guards, they are all dead. Now obviously this is happening in the city streets. So immediately the other people run to the palace and notify the guards there, saying that somebody has killed the royal elephant. And you know what that means, right? When somebody kills a royal elephant, that means that it is like a declaration of war, right? Somebody has come to war. Only enemy will do this. So the king is immediately alerting all the generals, and they all get onto their horses and cavalry, and everybody starts coming to this place. They reach this place where the elephant is lying, and where the guards are lying, and he finds that there's no enemy army. All that he finds is that one Shiva devotee is standing there, with holy ash on his forehead and in his chest and his shoulders. Only one Shiva devotee is standing there, and there's no enemy army. So the king gets off the horse and approaches the devotee, that is eRipaththa, and says, "Sir, basically, he approaches and asks, who killed this elephant?" And then eRipaththa says, "I killed this elephant and the elephant keepers and the guards." So the king is wondering, right? King is saying, he's a Shiva devotee. A Shiva devotee, if he killed the guards or the elephants, something bad must have occurred. They must have done something wrong for them to be killed. So then the king asks him, "Sir, what happened? What was the thing? What misdeed did they do?" Then eRipaththa narrates what happened and why he killed them. After hearing all this, the king feels pretty bad. The elephant did a mistake, and then the keepers and the guards, they should have prevented it, and they should have apologized. They didn't do any of this. So they were all at fault, he agrees in his mind. Then he says to the eRipaththa, "Sir, I see your action, and I see the rightful action that you have taken to punish these people, but the punishment that you have given is not enough, because they are all, I am ultimately responsible for this, because they are the guards, they are the elephant is royal elephant, they are the royal guards, and I am the king who is responsible for all this. So you should punish me as well." And then he says, But the battle axe that you are carrying, there is a symbol of Shiva, so don't use that. Use my sword and punish me. So he takes out his sword, royal sword, and stretches it out to eRipaththa, saying that take the sword and kill me. So eRipaththa is thinking, such a great king, such a great just king, such a great devotee of Shiva, and I have done this to his elephant, I have done this to his guards, and now he is saying, kill him. What kind of a mistake I have done? And he is thinking, what should I do now? He thinks that if he doesn't take the sword from him, the king may kill himself. So he takes the sword from the king. And then he is thinking what to do. I should kill myself for having caused this harm. So he takes that sword and puts it onto his neck, tries to cut his own throat. And the king is bent who was in front of the eRipaththa with his head down, waiting for him to kill him, wondering, what's happening, why he hasn't killed me yet. He looks up and he finds that eRipaththa is about to kill himself. Then he suddenly jumps up and grabs eRipaththa's arm and the sword. He grabs them and tries to pull it away from his neck. eRipaththa is pulling it to cut his own neck. So this struggle is going on. At this time, a heavenly voice is heard. It says, "O eRipaththa, O Pugalchora, we played this game so that your greatness can be known to the world." And at that time, the elephant keepers, the elephant guards, they all come back to life. And everybody is very happy. And after that, eRipaththa lived for a long time in Shiva's service. So that is the gist of this story. The greatness of eRipaththa, whose service to Shiva was so great that he wanted his greatness to be known to the world, and he played this Leela. So that is the story. Any comments, questions? You can ask. If you are on mute, you can unmute and ask. If not, we will go to the next one. EnAdhinAthan adiyarkum adiyen. So this again is a story that happens in Chola kingdom. EnAdhinAthan runs a martial arts school. We have this schools where they teach the art of the battle, right? The sword fight, archery. So they teach all those kind of things. So he was running a school of martial arts, teaching the sword fight and all that. And he was a great Shiva devotee. Everybody who is mentioned in this tiruttoṇḍattogai is a great Shiva devotee by default, right? That's implicit. And he had a school, and a lot of students were there learning martial arts from him. And as you know, in those days in India, the society was structured based on the jobs, and everybody had their job. There was more like a family tradition, right? So they had this potters there will be a potter family. From generation to generation, they will remain potters. They will make pots. Similarly, whatever, right? Farmers and carpenters and barbers, you name it. Everything was family based. And so the martial arts school was run by this EnAdhinAthan, and he comes from the lineage of people who teach martial arts. And he had let's say he had a cousin his name is Adisuran. Adisuran was, again, since he is from the same lineage, he was also having a martial arts school in the neighboring village, or maybe in the same town in another place or whatever. And as time went along, EnAdhinAthan school became more and more popular, and Adisuran school was getting less and less students. So you know how it is, right? Competition, the trade, in the trade, somebody, we say, like we do the trade. Oh, okay, Walmart is good, let's go to Walmart, let's not go to this store. Or maybe Amazon is good, let's go buy in Amazon, let's not go here. Like that competition. So more people were coming to EnAdhinAthan for learning martial arts, and less people are going to Adisuran. And Adisuran was looking, realizing that his student population was coming down slowly, and he became jealous that some of his students dropped out from his school and went to EnAdhinAthan school. And he said that I shall eliminate EnAdhinAthan, so that let me go fight with him. That way I can show that I am greater warrior and people will come to me. So he sends out messenger to EnAdhinAthan, says, let us, we are having this dispute, let's fight and settle our dispute. So they agreed on a time, and you know how the fighting is, right? So EnAdhinAthan and his group of warriors, Adisuran and his group of warriors, they all assemble in the battlefield. They fight the battle outside the town in a area. So they have this fight, and then in that fight, EnAdhinAthan is very strong and is very battle smart. So he was able to defeat Adisuran's group. So Adisuran escapes the battlefield and runs away. And then when he reached home, he was thinking, he was feeling very bad. I need to do, the jealousy is such a thing that once it enters the heart, it destroys one's soul and makes one think in very bad ways. So he is thinking, somehow I need to get even with EnAdhinAthan. How do I do this? Then he comes up with a cunning scheme. He sends a messenger later on to EnAdhinAthan and says, the dispute is between you and me. Why should we involve all the other warriors and have them get killed and all that? So I says that, and whatever, in 2 days' time or 1 week's time, whenever, you and I can meet alone to fight and settle our dispute. EnAdhinAthan says, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So on the appointed day, EnAdhinAthan leaves home without telling others what is the situation, and goes to the appointed place wearing all the battle things, right? The shield and sword and all that. And Adisuran also comes there, but Adisuran has done one trickery. He applies holy ash on his forehead and on his chest, and then takes the shield, covers his face and chest and all that, and comes to fight. And they start fighting, and in the middle of the fight, suddenly the Adisuran lowers his shield, and then EnAdhinAthan is able to see that Adisuran has got holy ash on his forehead, on his chest, and EnAdhinAthan was so surprised, and at the same time he was so happy, because he has never seen Adisuran wearing holy ash on his forehead ever before. But now he sees that, and he says that he is very happy that Adisuran has become a Shiva devotee now. But at the same time, because he has become a Shiva devotee, EnAdhinAtha is not willing to kill him. So he doesn't want to fight him. So when he thought that, if he has become a Shiva devotee and he wants to injure me, I'm okay with that. I don't want to fight with a Shiva devotee. So he doesn't want to fight with a Shiva devotee. So he was thinking of dropping his sword and shield. But then he thinks, if I drop my sword and shield, and if he kills me, he will be killing a person who had no weapons. And that is against the rules of the battle in those days. Killing an unarmed person. So he says, I shouldn't have that infamy to him. I shouldn't let him have that. I shouldn't make him get that infamy. So he holds his sword, but without really fighting. And Adisuran obviously kills EnAdhinAtha in the battle at the time. So EnAdhinAtha was willing to die rather than fight a Shiva devotee. That was his level of devotion and conviction. And that's how EnAdhinAtha is praised by Sundarar in this tiruttoṇḍattogai for doing such a great thing that is unimaginable for anybody. So that is the gist of EnAdhinAtha's story. If you have any comments or questions, we can talk. No?
Hello?
Okay. Yes?
Yeah. See this, I think the text is this, EnAdhinAthan tan adiyarkum adiyen. So this is adiyarkum adiyen is his servant's servant.
Yeah. Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So just like, in the beginning, the first slokam, first padhigam song, we have all the pandits of the that Chitrambalam.
Yeah, all the priests of Chidambaram.
All the priests. Like here, it is not really EnAdhinAthan. He is adiyarkum adiyen.
Yeah. So in this good observation, in this padhigam, in some places he will say, I am a devotee of that devotee. All right, like eRipaththa adiyen. I am a servant of that person. In some lines you will say adiyarkum adiyen. I am the servant of that person. Meaning is the same. Because we don't know why he used different styles, but meaning is the same. That he is a servant of he is a devotee of that devotee, or he is a devotee of the devotee. Basically, for the poetry meter, he may have used that kind of a variation. But bottom line is that all devotees, it doesn't mean that somebody who is called eRipaththa adiyen versus EnAdhinAthan adiyarkum adiyen doesn't mean any difference in the level of eRipaththa versus EnAdhinAtha. That one is greater than the other devotee. That's not the implication. All are great devotees, and he is a servant of those devotees. He is just expressing it poetically in different ways. Does it answer the question?
Yeah.
So next devotee on the list is Kalaimalinda Seer Nambi kaNNapparku adiyen. So kaNNappan story, all of you should be knowing, and because it's a very famous story, and it's there in all of South India, and in fact probably there have been movies taken of this story. In Kannada, I know that Rajkumar had acted in a movie called Bedara kaNNappa. Like that in Telugu also we probably have movies, and in Tamil also they probably have dubbed it or whatever. But kaNNappan story is a very famous story. And so he is saying, Kalai Malinda Seer Nambi. kaNNapparku adiyen. I am the devotee of kaNNappa, who was well versed in all the Shastras. And that is a very interesting way of saying that, right? Because we know that kaNNappa was a hunter, but Sundarar is saying that kaNNappa was well versed in all the Shastras. It's a very interesting adjective that he has used, and it's a good to think about that, because ultimately, the Shastras, right? What is the use, or what happens, right? When you understand all this and when you learn all the Shastras, what is ultimate goal or ultimate result? That you become very devout and pious. Devout, right? So that is what. So you're full of love for the Lord, and that's what kaNNappa was. He was embodiment of love. So that's how Sundarar is saying he is a essence. He understood, or he is very well versed in the Shastras. His gist of the Shastras he knows. Now kaNNappa story, all of you know, but I will again, just for the completeness of this coverage, I will narrate a little bit of the story. So there's in Periya Puranam, the story is described as this. There is a desam, or that kingdom is called Pothappi Nadu. That region is called Pothappi Nadu, and in that Pothappi Nadu there is a place called Udupur, and there lived a hunter tribe, and the head of the chief of the hunter tribe was Nagan, and his wife name is Tattai. And they didn't have any child for a long time, and so they worshipped their traditional deity, and that is Muruga. As you know, Murugan is basically known as the family deity, or the deity associated with the hilly areas. So they worship Muruga, and with God's grace, they get a son. So the son was born, and he was a very strong baby. So they named him Tinnan. Tinnan means somebody who is very strong. And as you can imagine, he grows up as a child of the chief of the hunter tribe, and you can imagine how that was in those days, right? This is a very long time ago. kaNNappar's time is very, very where kaNNappa precedes Sundarar, Sambandar, Tirunavakar, everybody thousands of years. So kaNNappar's time is probably 2,000, 2,500 years ago. That kind of very ancient time. And he grows up as a young child of a chief of hunter tribe, and then he reaches teenage, and then he learns all the things that they have to learn in the hunting tribe, right? How to hunt, how to skin, how to track animals, and do all that, right? So he learns all that, and he probably was 17 or 18 or something like that range. A very strong young man. And once they go on this the hunter tribe, they go on hunts periodically. They don't hunt every day. Every day they hunt for what they need to eat, but periodically they go on a hunt to keep their region free of wild animal, very dangerous animals kind of thing. And also, as maybe it's part of their annual ceremony, right? Maybe once a year they go on this big hunt, right? We have these festivals, right? In civilized world, we have festivals. Oh, we have Deepavali, we have Holi, we have Pongal, we have whatever, right? Like that, maybe in the hunter tribe in those days, maybe they had an annual festival. Like, let's go hunt on a spring hunt or something. So that time was nearing, and the chief says, I'm growing old now, and so I says that, I anoint my son as the chief, and he can lead the hunt this year. And that was, because as you know, the chief was already old by the time he had a son. So by the time this son Tirnan had become 17 or 18, the chief must have been probably, 55, 60, something like that. Not a fit age for going on hunting. So the appointed day comes. Tirnan is all, ceremonial bath is done, and they do their whatever traditional worship that they do before they go on a hunt. And the tribe is all ready, so all the able young-bodied men all assemble. And Tirnan is there, and he has got two close, you can say, guards or servants, friends or whatever in his group. So they all get ready, and they go on this hunt. So in Periya Puranam, there's a lot of description. How they hunted, how because Periya Puranam is poetry, right? So they put a lot of graphic descriptions, and how they hunted, how the elephants were killed, how the lions were killed, and all that. So it's a major hunt. They go on, and then after some time, they come across a very big wild boar. And Tirnan decides to hunt that wild boar. And as he was taking aim to shoot an arrow, the boar darts away. So he runs after that, and the boar keeps running, and he keeps running. And Tirnan is followed by two of his mates, Nanan and Kadan. So they all keep running, chasing this boar. After quite a big chase, maybe half an hour, maybe 1 hour, we don't know how long it was. They had a big chase, and finally the boar gets tired, and Tirnan was able to shoot an arrow and hit that boar and kill it. Now the boar is dead. Now they are all hungry. They are all thirsty. So Tirnan asks his mates. Tirnan is new to the hunt. He hasn't been to this part of the area. But others, the Nanan and Kadan, they are more experienced, and they have the lay of the land and all that. So he asks them, Tirnan asks, I'm very thirsty. Where can we find water here? So one of the other two guys says, look at that hill there. If we go beyond that hill, near that hill, we have a river. It's called the Ponmugali. So we can go to the Ponmugali river and have water to drink. So they carry the pig, and they walk to the riverside, and they keep the pig on the riverside, and one of the two guys, Kadan, he is given the order, Kada, you prepare the pig for us to eat. And then Nanan and Tirnan, they go towards the river so they can drink water and all that. And as they look up, they see the hill, and Tirnan asks, what is that hill? Because Tirnan has some strange attraction to that hill. He doesn't know why, but he has a strange attraction to that hill. And Nanan says, on top of that hill there is a Swami. His name is Kudumittevar. Once in the previous time when I had come for a hunt, I and your father had gone up the hill. We had seen that Kudumittevar. And, if we go up, we can see him too. So Tirnan says, okay, let's go. I want to see Kudumittevar. And so they climb up the hill. You can imagine the hill, right? It's a jungle and a hill. There is no... So they run up the hill. And as they reach the top of the hill, and there is solitary Shiva temple. So the Shivalingam, and Tirnan looks at the Shivalingam, and immediately some unknown feelings come to him, and he goes and hugs that Shivalingam. And Nanan is saying, what is going on? What is wrong with this guy? And then, Tirnan sees some leaf and some flowers and some rice and all that. What's this? And Nanan says, last time when we had come, some Brahmana guy came and he poured water on this Kudumittevar, and he put some flowers and he put some food and he said some words, and we don't know what. He said some words and then he went away. Oh, then Tirnan says, this is what Kudumittevar likes. I should give it to him. He is poor. Nobody is there to take care of him. He's all alone. Nobody to feed him, nobody to guard him. So he hugs him and he says, don't worry, I will bring food for you. And then he wants to go down and bring some food. He takes 2 steps away, and then he comes back and again hugs him, and he says, don't worry, I will be back soon. And then he and Nanan come down this hill, comes back to the place where the Kadan had prepared the pig, right? The Kadan has cut out the meat and he has started a fire. He has cooked the meat, and he tells Tirnan. Tirnan is the chief now, right? So he looks at Tirnan and says, check, I have prepared the pig properly. All the parts are there. Everything is cooked nicely. Taste and see if this is good, and whether I need to cook any more. And Tirnan takes a piece of meat, he chews it, and he says, okay, this is good. And then, but instead of swallowing it, he spits it onto a leaf that he's carrying in his hand. And takes another piece, he chews it, and he says, this is not good, and he spits it out. And another piece he chews, and then it's good, and then he spits it out onto the leaf. And Kadan is saying, what is going on? Has this guy gone mad? He's not eating. He's not he's not asking us to eat. He's eating, but he's spitting under the leaf. What's going on? Then Nanan says, O Kada, Tirnan has become crazy. He has become mad. He is not going to come back with us. He is sort of in love with this Kudumittevar on top. He is not coming back. So Tirnan takes all this meat, and he has to carry, crosses the river again, and as he's crossing the river, he takes it, and then he goes to the top and offers the meat and tells Swami, O Kudumittevar, this meat is very good. I have tasted it. It's very nice. Please eat. And in the meantime, Nanan and the Kadan, they return back to their village and tell the Nagan and the chief, the father, tell him that this is the situation. This guy is not coming back. So Tirnan stays awake at night, saying that, oh Lord, you have nobody to guard you, so I will guard you. So he stands guard for Shiva all night, keeping awake. And then in the morning, he says, now that it is morning, oh Shiva, today I will bring you much nicer meat. Yesterday I got you pig, but today I will get you deer. I will get you nice things. So he goes down, don't worry, I will be back soon. Don't worry. And then he goes down to hunt and bring back food for Shiva. And in the meantime, the Shivagocharya, the priest, comes and finds that whole place, right, is full of meat and bones. And obviously he's very upset. He says, some crazy guy has done these things, some crude fellow. And he sweeps those things away with broom or stick or whatever, and then brings some water and washes the place and does his puja and then goes back. And after some time, Tirnan has hunted a animal and maybe a deer or maybe other animals. He cooks it, he brings it, and then he remembers. Kudumityavar likes to be bathed with water, and he likes to wear flowers. So he goes to the river, but he didn't have anything to carry water, so he carries the water in his mouth. And so he has got his weapons in one hand, and he has got the meat in his other hand, and he has got water in his mouth. He comes up, and as he is climbing, he says, "Oh, I need to put him some flowers." So he plucks some flowers, and he doesn't have any place to carry it. So he puts them on his hair, sticks those flowers in his hair, comes up. Then in the meantime, Shivagocharya has done his daily worship, and he has gone back. So he comes there and he finds this vilva leaf and flowers and all that, right? He says, he sweeps he sweeps them away and pours the water in his mouth on the Shivlingam, and then puts the flower on his hair on Shiva's head, and says, Shiva, I have brought you nice deer meat today for you. Please eat. So this is happening. So this again, next day, that night he stays awake, and next day morning again he goes down. Similarly, the Shivagocharya comes, looks at the same thing, sweeps it away, pours water, and does his puja, goes back. So day 2, this happens. Day 3, this happens. So day 5 also this happens. And that after day 5, Shivagocharya is highly upset. He is a great Shiva devotee too. And he says, "Oh Shiva, what is this? How can this happen? Who is doing this kind of anacharam? This kind of bad things. Please help me. Please save this. Stop this from happening." And that night he gets a dream. Shiva appears in the dream and says, "Oh Shivagocharya, the person who is doing this is an embodiment of love. Everything he does is so pleasing to me. So tomorrow you come after your puja, hide in a place and see what happens." So Shivagocharya next day morning comes there, does his puja, and then hides somewhere and watches what's going to happen. So Tirnan again comes. This is day 6 now. And comes, and as he's going to offer his things, Shiva shows one eye bleeding on the Shivlingam. And immediately, Tirnan was shocked. Something has happened to our Lord. Somebody must have come and hurt him. So he, immediately he drops the meat, he drops the things, and he, with his weapons, he runs out to see who may have hurt my Lord. He doesn't find anybody. He comes back, but the bleeding is still going on. He doesn't know what to do. He thinks, how can he stop this? So he goes and, he's a hunter, right? So he knows the herbs that they use for the wounds. So he goes, gathers some of those herbs, grinds them, and pours the juice on the eye. Nothing is stopping the bleeding. He is at a loss. He doesn't know what to do. Suddenly something strikes him. Maybe if I can put an eye on the eye, maybe that will stop the bleeding. So, because I think it's probably eye for eye, arm for arm, that kind of, whatever the hunters may have had some kind of a belief. So he says, okay, he decides that he will put one of his eyes in the place of the bleeding eye of Shiva. So he takes his arrow, one of his arrows, plucks out one of his eyes, and puts it on the bleeding eye of Shiva. That immediately stops the bleeding. And He is so happy. He jumps up and down in joy. Imagine, if you, like the kind of thing, the kind of joy you will experience, right? If you are, state first in your exam, or you have won the $1 million in lottery. How much kind of happiness one will have? I'm just giving it as a simple example, right? Was so happy that Shiva is cured of his problem, and he was able to come up with this wonderful, brilliant idea of putting his eye on the eye of Shiva. So he jumps up and down, shouts in joy, and taps his own shoulder, saying that, hey, I have done all this. So he was so happy, but that happiness was short-lived. Immediately, Shiva's other eye started bleeding. And when that happens, he was again unhappy that Shiva is bleeding now. But at the same time, he was also happy that not only, he says, hey, I know the solution to this problem because I have just done that few minutes ago. So I know what will solve the problem, and I have the solution. I have another eye. So he is so happy that he could fix the problem now. So he takes the arrow and ready to pluck his other eye. But then he realizes if he plucks his other eye, he won't be able to see anymore. So he puts his foot on the face of Shiva. Foot is, hunters, right? He will have wearing some kind of a shoe. So he puts his boot or shoe on Shiva's face, and then takes the arrow and is ready to pluck the second eye. At that moment, Shiva could not bear it anymore, and an arm comes out and grabs Tirunnan's arm and says, Nillu kaNNappa, Nillu kaNNappa, Nillu kaNNappa, 3 times. Nillu kaNNappa means, oh kaNNappa, stop. kaNNappa is kan is eye, appudal means to put. So the one who put his eye is kaNNappan. So that's why the kaNNappa name is a name that was given by Shiva. And in Periya Puranam he says that Shiva said Nillu kaNNappa 3 times. That shows that how urgent Shiva thought you should say it, right? When you are very anxious and excited, we repeat things. Stop, 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 like that kind of thing. So, of course, Shiva blesses kaNNappa and he says, no, you will always be on my side. And this is the story of kaNNappa. And this, obviously, all this story happened in Kalahasti. And the Ponmugali river, that's called Ponmugali in Tamil. I think it's called the Swarnamukhi in Telugu. So that is the story of kaNNappa. So I would pause here, stop, and ask for any comments or questions you may have. If you are on mute, unmute and talk. So if you don't have a question, I will ask a question. Is the story same like what I narrated, or is it different in Telugu?
No, it's the same.
Huh?
It's the same.
Yeah, story is the same, but it's a bit romantic thing in the movie. Because you have to show honesty also.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the movie, man. I'm talking about the real story that you have in Telugu. Yeah. So kaNNappa, yeah, go ahead.
That's right. Yeah, I'm saying, it will be even more contemporary if they make the movie now.
Yeah. So kaNNappa is very special. He's extreme. You cannot have a devotee who's, who can be said as a greater devotee than kaNNappa. And so in Tiruvāsakam, in one of the songs, Manikavasakar says, Kannappan oppador anbinmai kandapin, Ennappan ennoppil ennayum aatkondaruli. He says, where is Kannappa's love? Where is my love? In spite of, I am nobody, my love is nothing compared to Kannappa's love. Shiva bestowed his grace on me. That's how Manikavasakar sings. And Kalahasti, all the saints have visited Kalahasti. Sambandar has visited, kaNNappa, sundarar has visited, Tirunavukkarasar has visited, everybody has visited Kalahasti. So there are thevaram songs in Kalahasti, on Kalahasti temple. And Sambandar in his padhigam, in one song, he refers to some of these things I was mentioning in the story. He says, Veyanaya Tolomayar Pagamadhuvaga Vidayeri Sadaimel Tuyamadi Sudi Sudagadi Danil Nadamadi Maya Maladanai Vinavil Vai Kalasamaha Varibada Same Verdan Malaraga Nayanam Kai Kanayina Ledan the Isanadikud Kalati Malaye. So he says, Vai Kalasamagam Verdan. So the kaNNappa brought water in his mouth. As the mouth is his pot, that in which he brought water for Abhishekam for Shiva. And he says he took his flower-like eyes with an arrow and applied on Shiva. And by that he reached Shiva's holy feet. And that is this Kalahasti. That's how Sambandar says in his thevaram song. And Adi Shankara refers to this in Shivananda Lahari song, in one song. Refers to kaNNappa in one of his songs. So that's why I said this kaNNappa story is very popular and very famous and very moving, because we cannot imagine, how much devotion one can have, right? Like there was, we say love at first sight, right? So kaNNappa saw Shiva for the first time at that time in top of the hill, and immediately he fell in love, and he felt so much love that he felt so much love that he had to protect the Lord, he had to feed the Lord. You and I will say, he is the one who is protecting us, he is the one who is feeding us. But kaNNappa felt so much love that he had to protect. So kaNNappa is very unique and very, very special. Any other thoughts or comments?
Yeah, I thought in the timeline, kaNNappa is one of the first, if not the first itself. Correct?
Correct. So in the devotees' timelines, kaNNappa, we don't know whether anybody, in the list of 63, right? In the list of 63, we say he's the oldest. And Karaikalammayar is older than Sambandar and Tirunavukkarasar, but her time was maybe 2-3 centuries before their time. But kaNNappa is much older. And, the Tirumular, the one who sang Tirumandaram, is older than Sambandar and Tirunavukkarasar. The tradition says that Tirumular was in yogic state and samadhi, and he will come out of samadhi once a year and sing one song and go back to samadhi, kind of thing. So if you take that account, Tirumular could have been many thousand years living, right? Because he's a yogi. But generally, kaNNappa is, you can say, is the oldest in terms of timeline. Yeah. So if there are any other comments or questions, we can talk. Otherwise, we will conclude here for today and continue in the next session.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, Mani. Thank you.
Tiruchitrambalam.